I'll lay this hydraulic press down in the trailer when I move it, so I don't want this jack to be laying on its side. I don't want it to be leaking anything. And this is how this is done. Out of there. Yep, that'll lift it. That'll come in handy for dragging the machines toward the door and guiding them down the ramp out the door. So that little contractor compressor will run the air hoist. Super. So this hoist operates by pulling these ropes. It's got these two handles on here. I usually just grab it up here because I'm taller. When I'm in a larger shop with a higher ceiling, this will be more adequate where the handles will be up higher. I can go like this. Put up there. That's how that works. This is a Gardner Denver, made in Grand Haven, Michigan. And really all it is a large air impact, really, turned into a hoist, designed into a hoist. Works pretty good. It's kind of loud though, especially with the compressor, the contractor compressor running. When I have the large compressor running, that's actually a lot quieter. So, but it does use a lot of air like most impacts. It'll come in handy moving day. And what I do with the ropes, the handle here for operating the air hoist, I just hook it up out of the way here. Keeps it off to the side, out of my hair. This is a bin of lights, machine lights that I've been collecting through the years. I haven't sold many of those off because they don't take up much space and aren't that hard to move, so I'm hanging on to them. Got quite a few in there. I have some other shop lights work lights that I have to take down, and they're too large for this bin, and I want to keep all the lights together. So I have a much larger bin here. It's longer, a little deeper, and it's a little wider, so hopefully I can get all the lights in there. This is the biggest light, most awkward, longest light. It's a magnifier light. It's got a fluorescent, round fluorescent light bulb in it. And I use this over the bench spices when I had those on my bench for working on smaller items, getting splinters out of my hands once in a while. But this one fits in there just fine. I'll get the rest of these put in there. That's a nice light. This one needs a rewire job. And I'll be putting a bunch of that packing peanuts in here so these won't get more scraped up than they already are, but some of these are going to need a repaint. Another one, that same style. Need some help with the reflector, the spare reflector from something. Of that style. This one's actually in pretty good shape paint wise. Just need to plug in the cord. Let's see. Another one that's a little different. Doesn't have a switch up here. I don't know what happened to that. I have not had this, and probably most of these I have not had on machines. Like I said before, I was collecting a lot of woodworking machines, and these were going to go on those. As I got those repainted, got lights mounted on, cleaned the lights up and got those painted. Then I started to get rid of those machines to get more metalworking machines, and so now these are going to go on metalworking machines. The ones I have and the ones I plan to purchase after we move. There's another one of those, I would call this a Bridgeport type light. These came on Bridgeports, this style of light. There's another one. Everything seems to be there, and this one just might need to clean up. Maybe a new cord, it feels kind of stiff. But it was out in the plastic shed, yard shed out there, so it's pretty cold. There's a short flexible arm one. Be good for a grinder, bench grinder. And here's another flexible one, be good for a bench grinder. Seems to be not have a mounting plate. Here's some mounting plates. Good thing it's nice and solid. That's for a different type of light though. There's a guard, goes on one of those shape lights. There's an old switch, porcelain switch. Miscellaneous mounting brackets. This goes to one of those lights, I know. Little Art Deco design on that mount. And I don't know what the light that goes to. Stuff down in there. This light I have one more light to take off the bench. We bought 2 great big bags of this packing peanuts. This bag was all the way filled up to here. And it was probably 4 feet around. Got 2 of them. I ordered from one of these online shipping places, and it actually came in a semi-truck. And I think you actually have a lift gate probably, and you set it down in my driveway, and I dragged it over by the garage, and I've been using it, packing machine parts. Like I've mentioned before, I have 3 large crates. They were 2 feet high by 4 feet by 4 feet. I put wheels under them, and a lot of packing peanuts went in there. And my wife used some for household items as well. I have another partial bag of peanuts that I'll add to this. Get that bucket out of there. And I still have one more machine on a bench that I'm going to leave on until the bitter end, because I do use it from time to time. And that'll go in here along with some other fragile kind of items. So this is what's left of the second bag. Pour a little bit in here. I don't recall how much they cost. I could probably find that out and mention that in another time in another video. That'll help keep them from rubbing on one another. Take an empty bag. More packing material. We've been collecting packing material for a couple of years now, it seems, in anticipation of the day. Got all kinds of stuff here. I probably won't leave all that in there, but like I said, I gotta get another light in there and probably some other items, but that'll be good for that one. For now, the bin of lights. Okay, these are some of the bars I use for moving machines or for working on machines. And the ones that have the stakes here, the form stakes pointing to them, that's my favorite ones. So starting over here is a Johnson bar, it's called. It is a 6 foot, that's 6 feet from the toe, I believe, all the way to the end of the handle. And that determines the capacity of it. As I recall, the length of the handle. It's just a wood handle, but it is a white oak handle. Next to that is this bar here. I ran out of concrete stakes there, but this one is very useful. It is probably 5.5 feet tall. Yeah, almost 6 feet tall. This is really a digging bar, but I like the flat edge on it for getting underneath the machine, and I'll show you on the bandsaw there, getting underneath the machine and prying it along, scooting it along on the rollers, or twisting it, or trying to get it on rollers. That can do a lot of lifting. As well this can, but I feel like I'm too far away lots of times with this, and it's hard to work this in tighter spaces. This gets you a little tighter. This one is really handy, this shape of bar. Let me see how long this is. This is about 3.5 feet, no, it's 3 feet. This is really useful, and again, I'll show you on the bandsaw machine. So it's good for prying like that. You can still stand up. And it's 3 feet long. This one really replaced this style here. I still do use this, like when I'm in a tight spot in the corner, or on a trailer that has sides or fenders, and I've got to get in there and pry a machine up or a skid up to get a pipe roller underneath it. That still works. This is just a shorter version of it. I don't use this much, but in a tight spot, that's a little shorter. So this is probably 30 inches. This is probably 24 inches. And this old style wrecking bar, you can see how rusty it is. I don't use these. If I'm pulling nails, that's what it was designed for more construction work. Yes, I would use it for that. But it's been a while since I've done much of that, so. And I have different lengths of these. I have longer ones as well. Next up is just a flat bar. This is just a longer version of the Stanley flat bar. Let's see how long this is. This is 22 inches long. And that's good for getting underneath things that aren't as heavy. And you're already down there on your knees, or you're bending over. I'm 6'4", so that comes in handy lots of times. These are probably in the category of this shorter one here. I don't use them much, but in a pinch, when I can't get something like that in there and I need to get a flat bar in there, those work. And this is just a paint scraper here. This is good for prying up little sheets of plywood that you've got on the floor or that you plan on running the machine up on. And you need to get an edge up on another edge, or just stick that in there sometimes as a temporary kind of shim to hold a sheet of plywood up to roll the machine over on. That works good for that. Also works good for cleaning machines, for scraping, and that's what it really is, the paint scraper. There are cheaper versions. There are some that are a little longer and even longer, but I like the short one because I used to keep it in my nail apron. But this is a hardened steel, or a harder steel than some of the other ones that you find in the paint department. This I picked up at an old time hardware store. I don't recall, made in USA, I don't recall the manufacturer on that because that's all worn off. But those are some of the bars I use, most of the bars really. I'll show you a couple other things that is helpful with moving machines and how these bars will help you under this bandsaw that I've shown in my last video. If you want to go back and take a look at that, show you how to apply those. This is the bandsaw in my last video. I had to move this around a couple different times to get in there and work on it. This is up on some 4x4s, and I cut a pretty good angle on the 4x4. Any skids or runners, I call this piece of wood a skid because it skids along there. Or a runner, just like on a sled or a sleigh, it's a runner. And that's where the pipes would roll across. So it helps to have that angle cut on there. If for some reason there's not much of an angle for a lead to get pipes under there, these different bars work. If it's up that high, then you can get this bar in there. It's good and long. You can get underneath there and do a lot of prying. You can move a lot of weight. If you're in a tighter spot and you don't have your long bar, this one works good because you can still stand up straight. You can get underneath there. You can put a block of wood down. Put a block of wood down, and blocks of wood are just as important as all the pry bars. If I go to get a machine, I don't leave without a bunch of blocks of wood. That's just part of the deal. So you can see how that would be advantageous. Same thing with this bar. You're down a little bit farther, you're away from the machine. If it's got a table that's in your way, this could be good for getting underneath there and not banging your head on the table. You got it on a block of wood, you can be standing up a little farther, prying on that. A shorter version of the same one I talked about. This is good if you are just having trouble getting the other bars underneath there. There's no lead on the skid or the runner, and you just need to jam something under it. You can pound with a hammer. You can take it, jab it underneath there like that in order to get a roller under there, or get a bigger bar under there. If it's a heavy machine, you're just prying up a corner, you need to get a longer bar. It has more capacity for prying, for lifting. That works great for that. Blocks of wood, I don't go anywhere without blocks of wood. Lots of blocks of wood. 4x4s, 4x6s, 6x6s. Always good for prying off of, for putting support under ramps or something that you're trying to get the machine across. And you don't want to break the ramps and lose the machine and get hurt, of course. Lots of blocks of wood. So recap on the bars, these are my favorite bars. These are what I would take with me to move the machine. I'll lay this one down. You can see what it is like. Is actually a digging bar. This end is actually for packing the bottom of a hole that you dug for a concrete pier or setting posts. This is the Johnson bar. This one has cast wheels. I'm sorry, this is a hard plastic wheel. I've seen them with cast wheels, cast steel wheels. But this is how this one looks. Some of these I bought new. I would say most of the steel bars I bought new. This I bought used at a garage sale with somebody that, like me, was moving, and he was just setting stuff out, and $20. So yeah, I picked this Johnson bar up for $20. So that was a pretty good deal there. But these other ones, I'm pretty sure I bought all these new, and I have two other styles of these long digging bars. They have different ends on them. It isn't a big flat end like this. It looks like it's just a bar, and the machine smashed it, so it's a triangle, and it's just a short triangle. That I don't like as well, because it's just the larger flat area, the longer flat area is better for getting underneath something, because then you're still on the flat. With the other one, you're up on the round part right away, and the machine has a tendency to want to tip, and you have to really work at keeping the bar from twisting. So this one with the long flat on it is the better one. These steel bars could all be had at your big box stores, your home center type of stores, or farm supply type of stores. The Johnson bar, that would be a little harder to locate. Like I said, I picked that one up at a garage sale many years ago. You can order those online, you can order anything online, but the shipping is the issue, right? Johnson bar, digging bar, these are wrecking bars or pry bars. This is called a flat bar, it's just a longer one. Then as far as the actual rollers, I used to always try to use solid ones. And even on a wide machine, I used to double these up. Put one under one side of the skid and one over here. And that was a big hassle. It was okay for turning. If you had a tight shop, you need to turn the machine, but it's not really necessary to have solid bars like that. Next is these steel black pipe. If you're gonna buy pipe, probably black pipe would be the best bargain for you. But there again, it's not necessarily always needed. That thick of a wall of pipe. I've used conduit. I have conduit underneath this machine right now, 1/2-inch conduit, and it's probably a 900-pound machine. And actually, this is actually an aluminum deck spindle. It's just aluminum, so. And I've used it a lot for rolling this machine back and forth. You can see it's not squashed. Machine sets on top of these for an extended period of time. Hasn't squashed them. So try to have sets of 3 or sets of 4 rollers usually. More is always better, but I mean, if it's a really long machine, yeah, you're going to need more rollers. Usually 3 or 4 of each size. Like I probably have, let me take a look. Yeah, I have 4 of this length. This is about a 4 foot, and this is probably about a 5 foot. I have 4 or 5 of these as well. And these things come and go. They do get bent when I'm turning a machine, or a lot of pressure gets put on one for some reason. On larger machines, yeah, you do bend these. These can get squashed, but for most applications, if you're dealing with relatively flat ground, that's not an issue. Don't try to think you got to get bigger, rounder pipe. Rounder, I don't mean rounder. Bigger, a round pipe. You know, 2-inch pipe or something like that. Because it's just hard to control when it's up on a larger diameter pipe. And you got to work harder to get those larger diameter pipes underneath the machine or underneath the skids. So, sure, it'll roll a little faster, but when you're moving something heavy, slow is faster. Slow is better, it's safer, and the pieces are easier to store when you're not using them. So lots of good reasons for a smaller diameter. This is just 1/2-inch pipe, black pipe. This is probably the largest roller I use anymore. This probably brings it to about a 1-inch OD diameter. Is that what 1/2-inch pipe is? 1-inch OD? Yeah, it's like 7/8 outside diameter on a 1/2-inch pipe. One of the major don'ts with pipe rollers is when they're underneath the machine, you're trying to turn the machine or something. Don't take a sledgehammer and try to knock the roller where you want it to go. Because what's going to happen is this. See that? It's bent. I think I had that underneath the mill over here in the corner, and it was a tight spot, and I was doing that, pounding it or kicking it with my foot to try to get it to move under the machine, so it would roll the way I needed it to roll. And that was a big no-no there, so I bent that one. I don't have any of my bench vices anymore, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to straighten this, stick it underneath this machine here, and try to straighten it, because I'm going to need these 4 longer rollers for when I do move the mill, at least to get it across the room, closer to the man door. So that's a no-no. Don't be pounding or prying on your rollers. They're going to look like that. There, off camera, I just took this pipe and stuck it in between here and just gave it a little pressure and it straightened it right out. So you can fix them, but why create more work for yourself? So I'll show you how easy it is to move a machine once you do get it up on some rollers. This is, like I've said several times, this is about a 900-pound machine. I mean, I'm barely putting any pressure on this. But the floor has to be swept clean. Relatively clean anyway. And I have, I think 3 of these aluminum deck spindles under there now. If you have them longer than machine, it makes it easier to turn. I have these actually on the short side. It's hard to turn on the short pipes because you'll have the 4x4 falling off the pipe. You make gradual turns, like I'm doing here. And you can scoop the machine when it's on the pipes. Better than the 4x4s being all on the ground. There. This is something I have in my shop now. I don't normally have this because I fight for space, but because we're working on a move here, working towards a move, I had this cart that I had from underneath some other machine or something. I don't recall what, but I have miscellaneous sets of blocks that I keep in the shop for moving what machines that I have in here still. And I usually will have even number of blocks. So I'll make them in pairs of 2. This particular 4x4s, it seems like you use a lot of those, so I have 4 of those. And I usually have two longer 4x4s, some 4x6s, and I do have some shorter ones. They're just behind the machine now. And I'm leaving them there because I'm going to need them for jacking that machine up and getting some rollers underneath that. So something I wanted to show you that I saw online, another YouTuber makes these for moving his machines. And I thought I'd try that out. I could have picked some better material because this has a split in it, but this was a 4x4. I just cut this with my circular saw. I made some wedges. And I think that would be good if you're kind of a solo guy and you're down there trying to pry something up and you need to shove something under there. A wedge would be good for that. I do have some smaller ones that I use for when I would install doors on houses. And so I made these wider ones, these 4x4 ones, for machine moving purposes. So I'm anxious to try that out. I may not use them on these machines because I have all these already up on skids or runners or palletized. But when I go to pick up a new machine, once we move, once I'm in the market for some more metalworking machines, I'll be anxious to bring these along and see what use they can provide. In addition to the 4x material, I also bring some 2x material. Larger pieces, these are 2x8s, 2x4s, and sometimes I even bring scraps of different thicknesses of plywood. When I'm struggling with the machine to get it up to a certain height to get rollers underneath, sometimes that can be helpful. Maybe I won't need the plywood, the thinner pieces, now that I've made these wedges. I have a lot more blocks, but I have a whole bin of blocks, like a bin that I took those lights out of, that size bin, that I've been bringing with me every time I take a load down to where we plan on moving to. So a lot of my blocks are in that bin. These are kind of extra ones that I made for lifting these machines up, so I wouldn't have to keep stealing those blocks and trying to remember to go back to the shop and get the blocks and make sure I bring them with. I just have a bin with a set of different size blocks in there to bring with me. This is something I'll probably have in a larger shop because I'll probably always need blocks for working on a machine or parts of machines. When you're disassembling a machine, you need blocks for that as well. Blocking them up on top of a workbench so you can clean them or prep them for paint. And I'm just gonna roll it underneath the workbench. Just like that. Looking forward to that in the bigger shop. Okay, these bins here I have some miscellaneous hardware, fasteners, some drill bits in there, some tooling. I really don't get into those very often, so I'm gonna work on packing those up. But I bought these great big bins, these large ones. I thought I'd just set those inside there and pack other stuff around there to keep the bins from coming out and dumping their contents inside the bin. So these I'm going to pack up and put in a larger bin. I have another one up on the shelf up there. But on the other side of this bench I have an identical set of bins, but I use that hardware from time to time, so I'm not going to quite pack that up yet. This is just a side note on these types of bins. This is the lids off of the smaller bins, the more medium size. This is the extra large bins here. But they're different manufacturers. You can see by the pattern on the lids. This is more of a diamond shape, I would call that, and this is more of a square shape. And these bins don't stack together from the different manufacturers like these do. See how they fit in there nicely? Won't move around. I have the bins that these lids go to. They're full of stuff, but I can't really show you. But the bottom of the bins don't fit in the lid of the other manufacturer, the lid from the other manufacturer. So if you're gonna buy a lot of these bins, try to get them from the same source, from the same store, and they have the same pattern. I actually like these, the square ones. I don't have many of these. I think I just have 3 of these. I bought these many years ago. These are actually a thicker design. And in my area, these stop appearing in the stores at all. These type of bins, these black bins with the yellow lids, they were just like gone from all the stores. And then all of a sudden, other manufacturers started coming out with them. So that's why we have this issue. And the other manufacturer being this one that makes the diamond shaped one, this is a thinner design of the lid. It still works, it still holds a lot of weight. You can stack a lot of these up. I wouldn't be really concerned with it. I would be more concerned with just making sure you get the same pattern, because that for sure will let you know it's from different manufacturers, and the bins may not stack inside these lids correctly. My thought was just to stack these in here, bins against bins, to help keep the bin from coming out, sliding it out, losing its stuff. These bins are going to be pretty heavy though. The large bins are going to end up being pretty heavy. These are 2-man bins. Even with lighter stuff other than those legs, maybe I can move that one by myself. But anything else that I've already packed and moved, these larger bins and some of the medium-sized bins over there, 2 men or a 2-wheeler. These are from an old hardware store. I kind of traded some work to get some of these. And I can only get 2 in there. I was hoping to get 3. Okay, so I have 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to need 4 large bins, and I only bought 3, and I already used 1 over there for the lights, and I already got some miscellaneous stuff in there. So I think that miscellaneous stuff I can take out and put in one of those bins. But marching on. Whoa, what's that? Last thing, could have used that the other day. Sometimes you collect stuff, you don't know what you got, you don't remember what you have. That's when I start getting rid of stuff. If I don't remember I got it, I'm not going to be able to use it. Okay, so it appears these heavier duty bins, the thicker lid and actually the thicker bin, are the Home Depot brand, but these are from years ago. I believe this HDX, that's the Home Depot supplier of these bins to them. Whether if they're still this quality and this strength, I can't say for sure. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here. I need my phone. That's what I'm making videos on, is my phone. I need to use it to call my wife to have her pick me up a couple more of the biggest bins to put more of this hardware storage items in there, and as well as some other things to pack in with there. So thanks a lot for watching. Please hit like, share, subscribe. That will help the channel out, help me out. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching.